Pipeline, the surf coaster? Wow, that's quite the name. Great job, SeaWorld. We were all shocked when SeaWorld Orlando announced they would be building Pipeline the surf coaster. This was a brand new concept from B&M, and they looked like they were stepping out of their comfort zone and taking a risk here. And in the long run, I think this will pay off. So, is the B&M surf coaster the next big thing? Well, let's find out. Pipeline, the surf coaster, opened up this year, and it's been pretty well received. This coaster was the first surf coaster to open to the world. As you probably know, the surf coaster is a modified version of the stand-up coaster. And after riding this coaster a few days ago, I can confidently say that this is way more comfortable than any stand-up coaster out there. Now, this thing is a little rattly, I must say, but it's definitely not really noticeable at all, and it's definitely a smooth and very comfortable coaster to ride. Now, what makes this coaster unique? Well, first you're standing, but, that's been done before. The real reason why this coaster is unique is because of these trains. These trains move upward with your body when you experience negative G's, or airtime. This makes for a really unique experience. I really enjoy it, and I think a lot of people do too. Now, I cannot confirm, but I do feel like Pipeline's been pretty successful for SeaWorld Orlando. I feel like this coaster could fit well into a lot of other parks' lineups. For example, Kings Island would be a perfect fit for a new surf coaster. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know what's coming next. And yes, it's Marketability. For someone who doesn't ride a lot of roller coasters, this coaster will look really cool. And if you know some Kings Island history, you know they already had a stand-up coaster previously. So for a lot of people, there will be that nostalgia factor and I remember riding King Cobra. And when they do ride this coaster, it'll be a whole lot more comfortable than King Cobra, and people will enjoy it, and they'll tell other people. They'll be like, remember when we used to ride King Cobra? Well, now there's a better version at Kings Island. And it almost re-engages that generation with Kings Island, like, oh, we haven't been there in a few years. Let's head back, because I want to ride this new King Cobra. And after that, there's a good chance they'll enjoy the rest of the park too, and Kings Island just has a new customer. Now, what a lot of parks are looking for these days is something cool or unique that they can market with. For example, dive coasters. They market the cool, crazy, massive drop that they have. And it's something most people who visit amusement parks haven't seen before, and they just have to ride it. It looks so cool. And I feel like those surf trains could do the same thing. For one, you're standing up, which is something that the average person does not experience, at all, on a roller coaster. It also features a launch, which launches are cool and exciting. And they really get people excited, which is really good for a new coaster. So what I'm basically trying to tell you is this is a dive coaster that's actually a good coaster, if you know what I'm trying to say. It has the same effect of the dive coaster with being really marketable, really pulling people in and letting them enjoy a good ride. But as you probably know, dive coasters really aren't that good and they're kind of boring, to be honest. This coaster model is exciting, it's new, it's different. So now that I've given you a pretty good amount of reasons on why a park would want to build a surf coaster, let me tell you why not. Well, let's see here. I guess it's not the most high capacity model out there, but if this coaster is well staffed and operated efficiently, then it really doesn't have that bad of capacity. There are a ton of rides that theme parks build these days that have much worse capacity than this. Well, I guess we don't know if it's super reliable in the long term, but I don't think this has given any real problems to SeaWorld or anything. Well, I guess it's a prototype still, but SeaWorld's taking care of that right now, and they're not having issues with this ride. And another thing that's good about this coaster is that a lot of us enjoy this coaster. And so, when we go to talk on YouTube or whatever, we say positive things about this coaster. And if you just search up a quick YouTube video on Pipeline the Surf Coaster review, you're probably going to get a pretty positive one. Whereas if you search up maybe a dive coaster like Valraven review, there's 50-50 shot you get a not so positive review on it. And if you don't ride a ton of coasters and you see a review talking about how this coaster is boring and stuff, there's a good chance you skip it. But when you hear positive things about a coaster, you just want to ride it and you want to tell people to ride it too. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're enjoying the video, then give it a like and consider hitting that subscribe button while you're at it. Now, the B&M Surf Coaster looks like a coaster that should be selling like crazy right now. But why isn't it? Why do we only have one surf coaster right now? Well, let's keep in mind that this is still a prototype. And I think a lot of parks and park chains are looking to make sure this ride is reliable and actually well received by the public. Think of a company like Cedar Fair. They're going to pull the trigger on a ride they don't know anything about. They're going to wait a year or two and make sure the coaster is actually successful and doesn't have any unsuspected problems. And to be honest, I feel like the whole amusement park industry is just kind of weighing this one out, making sure this is actually going to be successful. And I think it is. So, I believe that the surf coaster is really going to take a jump in popularity in the next couple of years. Now, is it going to be as popular and as successful as the B&M Hypercoaster? I'm not going to buy that. The B&M Hyper appeals to just about every park out there right now. The surf coaster, now it does have a lot of parks that it could appeal to, but I just don't think it is maybe of the magnitude that some of these parks want. But I still think this coaster is going to sell really well for B&M. So good job, B&M. Good job being creative. And you know what? Congratulations, B&M. You built a coaster type that should be really popular in the next couple of years. I think it'll really sell good for you guys. So if anyone who works for B&M is watching this video, then good job. I think this coaster will be really successful for you guys. Now that we're pretty certain that this coaster will be successful, well, what parks could get one? This coaster would fit really well at a park like Kings Island. I mean, like, it would fit perfectly with the nostalgia of King Cobra and everything. And I really feel like it would fit well in the park's coaster lineup. I could also see this coaster going to some mid-tier sized parks, like King's Dominion or Carowinds. Maybe even Knott's Berry Farm. Like, this will probably avoid bigger parks like Magic Mountain and Cedar Point. I just don't think the capacity is necessarily what they need it to be for those big parks, but like a Kings Island, they could probably make it work. Now, this could make its way to a few smaller parks, but definitely on the scale of like Pipeline. But for bigger parks like Carowinds, Kings Dominion, Kings Island, Knott's Berry Farm, all that stuff, I could definitely see a more scaled up version potentially coming to those parks. You know, taller, faster, longer, and if Cedar Point were to ever get a surf coaster, which I highly doubt, you know what, they could probably break some records, because it's Cedar Point. They need to break every single record known to mankind. But if your home park is no bigger than, I'd say probably like Kings Island, you definitely have a good chance of getting a surf coaster. Now, I must say, I cannot guarantee you that the surf coaster will be like super successful. I'm just telling you, it has all the qualities that a really successful ride model needs. Make sure to stay tuned for my Pipeline the Surf Coaster review. That'll be coming out soon. So if you don't want to miss it, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So, thank you guys for watching, have an awesome Christmas, and I will see you all in the next one.